thank you. I just have to go to PD later, so I want to listen while
Okay, I see Leslie, and I see my favorite name of all time, Bobo Kai.
you can? Here, just give me the number.
Leslie and Bobo, can you hear us? Do a sound check.
Yes. Yes.
All right, I'm gonna start the recording. Ready?
Okay.
Okay, let's play ball. I'll call the Thursday, May 9th Art Commission meeting to order with our roll call. Carla Friend. Here. J.R. Russell, the chair. Here. Mary Himes. Not here yet. Not quite sure. Valerie Steely.
Here.
Cynthia Mason.
Here.
Vice Chair. Tracy Davidson.
Hello, here.
Therese Kinsberry is out on assignment. Student, student representative is vacant. The ex officio, our council member, is Chris Wigenstein. He's not here. So, and wait a minute, we got, I'm going to even say, Leslie, from Framework, we have Leslie, and then my favorite name of all time, Bobo Kai. I still think that your ringtone should have some sort of Star Wars thing, or like Yoda just chiming in or something. All right, so let's play ball. Everybody's got the agenda in front of them? Everybody happy with that? Do I have a motion to approve that? Do we need a motion to approve that? Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we go on to the approval of the minutes from our April 11th meeting. I don't know if everybody had a chance to read them. And unless we have any changes, I'd entertain a motion to approve them. You guys,
You did it. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the April 11th meeting as presented.
okay? Second?
I'll second.
I'll third.
Okay. All in favor? Aye, okay. So now let's go on to item number 4 is public comment. We have no public comments, so we can move straight on to business. That's cool. We did this in 4 minutes. Well done, team. So let's go to the first item, which I don't know, might be hard to talk about, the placement of the 3 totems in the Kinnebrew collection. Do we have any? Because that was probably something that Brian might know. And I think Liz is going to say something. That's Liz Lang. I forgot to give you, are you here? She's here. Okay.
Hello, Liz Lang. Yes, Brian is on his way. He got a call from the RCO office, which is very exciting, and he said he'll update us when he gets here, but he is on his way. So what I would like to propose is, if we want to, and if this is okay, to switch some things around and start with the Stumbling Duck naming contest and the Mermaids Pirates events sponsorships, all of which I am very prepared to talk about, and then we can loop back to those other items when Brian arrives.
Okay. Everybody like that?
Yep.
Do we have to do do I have to do a motion? Or I can just say, go for it? Go for it. Okay, and I disagree. Let's go, no, I disapprove of that motion. Because Brian's here.
We should let her.
We'll let him settle into his chair, and we'll go on to the Stumbling Ducks.
Talk about these 2 items, the Stumbling Duck and the Mermaid and Pirate sponsorship.
Okay, Liz, go.
Yes, so the Stumbling Duck Sculpture Naming Contest, we had, and some of you who were at the Arts Commission booth at Holland Happenings can probably speak even better to this, but we did have a stack of names that were submitted at that event. And also in the recreation guide, the activity guide that's just going out now, There's a page in the activity guide, which is the coloring page, and then the name these ducks with the scan code, and we've created a Survey Monkey for people to be able to put in 3 names. So as of right now, the information that's out there says that we're running this naming contest. Get your names in by Memorial Weekend, May 27th, I believe that is. And then it'll move forward from there. So then we can talk about how we want to, do you want all of these names brought to you? We can put them in a Excel spreadsheet and tabularize them and see if there's multiples, because there are a lot of like one name keeps reappearing. So it's like, oh, that's obviously a favorite, right? So we can kind of tabulate those and bring them forward to you.
What
I think that would be really useful.
So if we could, why don't we could take that to our subcommittee, the outreach subcommittee, and narrow it down that way so that when we bring it back here we can say, hey, here's the
10.
top, here's the top 10, and then we
Yeah.
can decide on that from there.
That sounds good. Do that in the subcommittee, and then we'll
And-
get our hands deep in the names in the subcommittee and bring them up, yeah.
And Bobo, thank you for coming out and doing all that stuff and bringing all the stuff and helping out there in the rain. So I hope you had a good time on that Saturday.
Yeah, it was very nice to meet you all, some of you, JR, Cynthia, Tracy, and Terry in the morning. Also see Brian and Liz and Craig in person. So it's a very nice day. I enjoyed it a lot, and I especially amazed by you guys, the connection with the kids and your community.
And I was
So it
just
was really
amazed
fun. I like that.
that you're a lot taller in person. You're only like about an inch and a half on Zoom, but in person, you're about 5 foot.
Yeah, I'm actually taller.
Okay. Any more discussion on the ducks?
Nope, and I think something to think about, and we can decide when we have the names, but how do we want to then name these ducks? Do you want to do plaques on them? How do we want to unveil the names, announce the names? Do we want to do a little thing there on site to announce the names?
We'll take that into our subcommittee meeting when we
Perfect.
meet, and then we'll finalize that so we don't have to.
Yes, of course, and so
Yep.
those will be the next steps that we will want to figure out.
You guys happy with
It's going
that?
to be fun.
Very.
I will
Okay.
add that my favorite so far was an online submission of Quack Sparrow, Duck Norris, and James Pond.
I love that. James Bond is my.
Although my favorite one was a group of girls walk around with Kronk, for the one that was on the belly flop, Kronk. Okay, let's go on to item D, Mermaid and Pirates event sponsorship.
Yes, so we are excited to be hosting a Mermaids and Pirates community event at Shipwreck Shores, which is the name of our splash park. How fitting. And this event, just the general layout of it is for all ages. It goes from 11 to 2 on the 27th of July. And the whole idea or concept is you're going to show up and you're going to choose your path to becoming a mermaid or a pirate, because we are also really blessed on the island to have our own Whidbey Island Pirates and our Whidbey Island Siren Pod, or mermaids. So they're both, those groups are really excited to engage in this community event with us. And so when people arrive, they'll get to choose if they want to follow their treasure map on the route of becoming a pirate or a mermaid. We're encouraging people to dress in costume. There will be a costume contest. And then the way it's laid out is there'll be about 4 stations that they're going to follow their map and stop at in the general area of the splash park, the library story trail, and back over to the big, talk with my hands, the big concrete circle area in front of the clean water facility, and then ending inside the interpretive center. And so each of these stations will have activities or crafts themed around, becoming a pirate or becoming a mermaid. And so we would love to have 1 or 2 of those be sponsored by the Art Commission and be a really fun art project. One thing we were looking at was I'm going to say this wrong, water marbling you're familiar with that. I'm sure you are, probably more than I am. But the project of, you put the colors in the water and you lay the item in and pull it out and it's colored. And so we're thinking, okay, can we do one of colors and like, can we do these as scarves, and you have the one that's, going to become the pirate tie around handkerchief, or, what, that kind of thing. So we're thinking like, we'd really love to have this element of a fun art project to get them involved with, that could then be sponsored by the Arts Commission. Also, we're talking about having, piles of seashells and rocks and creating your mermaid necklace or headpiece out of that, right? And then we're also looking to have some face painters there doing face painting as well. So these are some items that we thought really kind of aligned with some of the fun community outreach that the Art Commission would like to be involved in. So I wanted to bring this forward for your consideration. And so we're looking at figuring out how many people we're anticipating, and what we're kind of looking at now is we're thinking probably a 300 to 500 range is what we want to be prepared for, because we do want this to be the family walks up and everyone can participate, right? So anyone who comes will participate in this, and then looking at what the materials cost and things will be for that. So we're anticipating that it would be up to $1,000 is what we're asking for the materials for these art booths, and possibly if we're needing to pay face painters. We think we have some who are willing to donate their skills and times, but that might be something that we need to look at too.
So Liz, question. So just so I'm clear, is your request
Yes.
for the Art Commission to support all of that, or be a partial sponsor?
So the up to 1,000 would be from the Art Commission, and that is a partial sponsorship. So that won't cover all of the activities or things that we will be doing, but focus specifically on those ones that are connected to the art project.
Thank you.
Yes, and then I didn't even finish with the end of, when you get to the end of your map and you end up either at the mermaid sitting on the throne or the pirate with his gold chest, and you're getting your bloom or your mermaid magic thing, you also are receiving your new name, your mermaid name or your pirate name on a certificate from that pirate or mermaid.
Now, do you want us to, we can make a motion to approve up to $1,000 right now? Brian, are we in a position to? Yeah.
Yeah, so you had kind of approved in our budget tweak of the arts fund budget, $18,000 for art programs support that the city was going to do. You can either just have it come out of that, or we have $1,000 in miscellaneous. We've allocated out discretionary community support pretty much for all the ones. You only put about 400 in miscellaneous discretionary in there, but you just give us a motion approval that you want to support this with the sponsorship.
And we'll figure out where the money's going to come
Yeah,
from.
We'll take care of that.
Okay, well, I'd like to make a motion to approve $1,000 go towards the Mermaid and Pirates event sponsorship for materials. Oh, yeah, do I make that motion and then go for the comment? Or,
After you get
Yeah.
a second, yeah.
yeah, okay, after I get a second. Anybody seconding that?
All second.
Okay, any comments? Yeah.
So I'm not against this idea. I think it is in line, but I just want to caution tiptoeing into our process with our plan and setting a precedent or non-precedent of what we consider. So again, I'm not against this. I just want to take care of how we're approached for funds. And of course, being the Parks and Rec, I think it's a great partnership of passing the money for those things. So I'm not against it. I just want to say that
That
this will be
is-
developed.
Okay, that's perfect. And is, Liz, I was thinking, is this another thing that we could take in front of the outreach program? And also, because Leslie and Framework, this is like a giant softball coming your way that you can wallop. And so, oh, and this is where I've got a fund request form that's in front of me.
That's what I was going to just mention, so
Oh.
thanks. Yeah, it might be apropos that this is just something I threw together after attending some nonprofit support courses on things just like this. But I was going to say I'd be interested to hear from Framework on what Cynthia brought up.
While the item is related, let's cover that under member comments.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion on the table is for the $1,000 to go towards the project itself. And it's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay. No opposition, so there we go. And then we can start playing details with you at the subcommittee level, because I can tell you right now, there's like a certain place that I've talked to that, boy, they might have a mermaid cookie and a pirate cookie that would be available for that event. So, because it'd be nice to figure out the outreach for like our Front Street people.
Yes, that sounds perfect. And of course, anyone on the Arts Commission who is interested in coming in and volunteering at the booths would be more than welcome to. And so I'll also provide you with that information.
Okay, so now we'll move on to item D, the subcommittee update, wrapping of the utility boxes. I just talked to Humphrey Signs today. They've got the artwork from the center, the seagulls. So and when talking to them, it's just a question of getting stuff into the queue. So we're in a position to start wrapping the first box. And it's just a question of getting it going, and then some of the other teachers are going to be sending art to the high school where it gets digitized, sent to Humphrey, so it's taking a little bit of relief off of them so they can focus on creating the panels and stuff like that. So that's where the kind of the update I have on that. Yes.
I know the idea was to have arts commissioners, present and past, bring something artful to you.
That was to Reese, so
So
that's.
if we could get just a direction on like format, or that would be
Okay,
great.
so I will get in touch with Therese, who's probably watching this thing, so that we could figure out what we're gonna do to reach out to the art commissioners.
And if we're far enough along in the process that we're ready to contract that work, we'll need to put that agreement together. I know we got some cost estimates from two, right, Humphreys and Blue.
From,
No, okay.
and I have in fact, when I was talking to them today, that their question was, who do we send the bills to?
Yeah.
And the estimates, so they are drafting up those estimates.
Okay. And we'll just need to get another quote. So we have 3 quotes to move forward with the probably a small works agreement.
Okay? So that means we gotta find somebody like Joe's Sign Company?
Yeah, I will
Okay.
touch
Yep.
base with you.
Okay.
Offline, and you and I can work on it together, Jared.
Okay. Thank you. Then we can go back to A, which is the memorandum of understanding and placement of the 3 totems from the Kinnebrew collection.
I'm looking right at you, yeah. So you had a site visit, right, with Michelle? You want to talk about that?
I'm sorry, I thought you were going to comment on it. We did have a site visit with the school superintendent and her assistant, along with Brandon.
And they got to see both pieces. So they saw the Gate of Inspiration, which has been cleaned up, and the 3 totems. Just to reiterate or remind you, they had a little interest in the Gate of Inspiration over the 3 totems. I'm not sure of their processes, but I know there's a school board meeting coming up next week, so if they have to take it to the board to have the proposal considered, hopefully we'll hear from her or them by the end of next week on a yay or nay if they're in line with having an installation on their property. And the MOU was given to them as a sample that was used at the Boys and Girls Club, so they have that language as well.
I've tentatively put our placement for Gate of Inspiration on the July 24th council workshop. We can move that up to the June 26th workshop if we feel like the school district wants to move forward. And that way, I just kind of put it far enough out that they can do their process, but when they're ready to go, we'll pick an appropriate, the next whatever workshop that
Right.
is, just to pass that through council.
And I guess I would like to present to my colleagues here that originally, and we have approval from council to put the Gate of Inspiration at Friend Marsh. That was made a few months ago, here, the recommendation, and taken to council. I just want to make sure nobody was completely cemented into the idea of the Gate of Inspiration being at Fred Marsh versus the 3 totems, if in fact the school district was interested in one piece over the other. Because we haven't said hell yes or heck no, but just wanted to open that up too.
I think it's a great idea if the school wants the Gate of Inspiration. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm not pulled either way.
Could we not give them both? I mean, the campus is big, but so I just, didn't know if they would want both of them.
Well, the idea with sorry, my mic, I keep forgetting to turn on. So the idea with this collection was to have it come down the corridor entering from town to lead down to the park. So we have 2 installed, one at the Pocket Park across from the Berry Place by the track, I don't know the name of the store, the other at Boys and Girls, and then the site at the school district's office was the proposal, and then the last one had been approved at the trailhead of Fred Marsh. And that would get people to the park. Okay.
I am also open to either the grouping of the 3 totems or the arch being at Marsh.
Brian, I have one follow-up question about the collection. The 3 totems need some love and care. So I don't know if we've got that money and or approval already done with discussion from council, or if we need to start from the beginning here again so we can take steps to get some cleanup done on that and in preparation of the installation.
I'll check with Gideon on
Okay.
the status of that and what approvals were given and what budget's left over.
Okay,
for it.
thank you.
And I've got one, as a follow-up question onto that, because I've seen them, they're just iron pillars of rust. But and there's 3 of them. So my little idea is, because if it went to the school district and there's 3 of them, if those things were polished down, or can they be adjusted in their material? Because if there's 3 of them, that means that you could assign one to the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school, and each year somebody could paint it. Like the high school would get 1 totem, the middle school would get 1 totem, elementary school would get 1 totem, and then you rotate it the next year. It'd be done again, and the school would be kind of, it's in their ballpark to play with. And is that possible?
Don't forget about the middle child of the intermediate school.
Well, that's why I was thinking, the elementary school is that middle intermediate school, and you could, Because you could rotate the school. It's like, hey, Oak Harbor Elementary, you have year, 2025, and you rotate that. High school, you could just do the senior class, and they could, intermediate and middle school could rotate it around.
It's a fun idea, but I would definitely, I would leave it to the commission to make a formal decision on how they want that piece presented, and we will enact whatever your recommendation is.
And we're like the oldies here.
That's why,
We've been
put
riding
me
this
back in my
wave
box.
for-
Yeah, you
we
definitely
like-
throw me down.
We liked Rust.
Oh,
But my instinct is telling me they're gonna maybe favor the Gate of Inspiration, which would put the 3 totems at Friend Marsh. And the idea originally was to embrace the Rust.
Hey, I just.
Patina is very stylish.
Okay. Do we have any other subcommittee updates? Or wait a minute, we're on to State Park Revival, item B.
So it was a few years ago, the skate park cleanup was being discussed, and then it kind of fell on the wayside. And the Arts Commission never really received full understanding of who owned the property. But that's been clarified now, and the city does own that. The school has the ballparks, but, and it was on Arbor Day that I was there looking at the skate park for the day while all the activity was going on, and had a chance to speak with Carrie Stuckey, who is on Parks Commission, and just talked about reviving the conversation of getting that cleaned up again, be it, a community pulled exercise of finding donated paint and putting everybody's hands with a paintbrush, and then truly making something out of it. In discussion about the Kennenbrew collection with our school superintendent, she shared an example of a project she had as an art teacher before she moved to Oak Harbor about, she was in a town where train cars were going through that were getting tagged all the time. So the idea was brought forward that the kids could come forward in the right ask without any confessions being made of who was doing the tagging, but let them absolutely create their art on these cars. And I thought that would be really great to rotate that kind of RFQ for our youngsters, maybe quarterly or once a year. So it was continually being touched and loved. And I think if we put some attention to it, it might help with the complaints that come from that area. So I just would like to revisit that idea of having a community cleanup day, somewhat similar to like Main Street has for downtown, is a good example.
I think it's a great idea. And I love the thought of letting kids do graffiti because they're really good at it. I think it's a nice way to support them.
Maybe Bansky can
Yeah,
come.
sure,
We can
right?
get Bansky to show up. Well, I like it. So we can take that for an action item somehow. What can we do for a next step? 'Cause-
My only concern with approaching some of those teenagers is this, what if they're, violent, or like who should be the person approaching those individuals?
The idea in my concept would be that it's a true request for, or call to artist. So they would have to fill out the right paperwork. We would vet those with a sample of submission of what they do. So it wouldn't be, it would be hopefully attracting the right artistic youngsters to the project.
Now, is this something, oh, I'm sorry.
No, thank you. I like that idea a lot too, because when we were talking about it, I was like, well, who's going to go approach these teenagers and be like, hey, I don't know if you know who's tagging, but here's my card. Tell them to give me a call. Like,
Well, and I think it would be a nice exercise in a learning process for the young artists too, on how to, fill out a call to artists or respond to a call to art.
a little sign plaque with like a QR code at the park,
Yeah.
at the skate park. They could scan it with their cell phone.
Yep.
Well, I was thinking of, this is another one that's a pitch that we could throw towards working with Framework to get this out as something that, is important to us. It's certainly important to the Art Commission. And so how can we move this forward and get the word out to make something like this happen? Because we've already done, okay, there's naming the ducks. Now let's figure out how we can get the skate park moving. And what's the best way to get the word out? Who do we have to contact? Because obviously I think we got to talk to the school district.
Yeah,
And-
and that's the thought, well, we don't need to talk to the school district, it's not school district property.
But I'm just saying, if we're going to go after, recruiting, request forms of who wants to go do this, and we want youth to do it, so that might be something that the school district might be interested in playing and art teachers might be interested in playing,
It's just getting
Right.
hold of the right stakeholders
Right.
at that point.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea, is vetting it through the school, similar to the utility wrap project, and having the art teachers kind of help us get that interest and facilitate the application process or whatever. That'd be a good mechanism.
And maybe talking to the skaters themselves, just
QR
go,
at the park.
yeah, the QR at the park, I think sounds great.
Well, we could always talk to the director at the pool too. They might know some of those individuals because they probably frequent the bathroom or whatever in between. That could be an option too.
Yeah, and I was going to say, the idea of having Framework kind of guide us through this would be a great learning process for this commission as well, because we haven't had an opportunity to put a call out to artists outside of the Acorn project, and that was a handful of years ago, so.
I think we would need good public notice of this. I
Right.
can see people, oh, your park staff just clean up all that graffiti, and then someone came along and put a bunch of graffiti back on it.
We could teach them the beauty in that street art.
Cynthia, as I don't have a lot of knowledge about this particular park, one question I have is there knowledge or concern that the people who are frequenting that area and/or putting the graffiti up are not part of the school?
It's not welcomed at this point because it is tagging, and the Parks and Rec have to clean it up or not. I mean, they have a long list of things to do, so it's just an effort in getting an uncomfortable situation corrected.
And I think that's great. I was wondering if we know if those that are involved are part of our Oak Harbor school system or not.
I don't know that.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Well, the thing that, walking out of here today would be, we can certainly take this at subcommittee level, but finding out who all the stakeholders are and who's going to take the lead on this, to do this, because it is a park thing, and it is art. So that's, it's both. And it's involving kids, it's the pool, there's a lot of people that should get involved with this as far as the cleanup of it, and then where are we going to go with it? So we could take this at subcommittee and we'll wrestle with it a little bit more, and then we'll come back, we can find the stake with Framework help, and then we could keep this on the agenda for our next meeting, just to see if we've got any steam on this thing, if there's some momentum on it, and who wants to be the person in charge on it.
I can see we can put this in a category of public art placement, perhaps.
And I'd be curious to see if Leslie if she's still there, if, or, if she has any thoughts on this.
I so do. Yeah, Perry and I actually met doing a skate park at Seattle Center, and we've done another one since, and she's done one in Boise.
Why didn't you turn around and come into this like 20 minutes ago?
Because I didn't know whether, it's your meeting, we're trying to be appropriate here. But, skaters are actually pretty great. They love having a skate park. And I think art in skate parks is really great. I think if we can get them to feel like it's their place, their artistic expression, that it could be very successful. Have you guys seen, we did such a beautiful skate park that Perry found this mom that was selling this batch of skateboards, and they turned out to be trashed, and she took pictures of them. It was so beautiful, and we put them between laminated plates of glass, and they look like, a Jackson Pollock painting. It was so pretty, and it was skatable. So I think working with the skaters themselves means they're pretty good at self-monitoring. So I think both Perry and I, speaking for her, would be super excited to work with the skaters.
Would you tell me the name of that park again so I can kind of look at it? Or where it was?
Yeah. I can send you some photos. It's on our website.
Okay.
But there's a big drop off, so we needed a glass wall, and there was a Catholic church on the other side, and those windows were sort of this weird mashup of skate park and Catholic church windows. That skate park then was moved because of the arena remodel, and it's down where there used to be a street. But anyway, it's something, and Perry's done one in Boise. I'd be happy to send you photos. But we've had really good experiences working with the skaters. So I think that would be really...
We do have a skate shop
I was
where we
thinking-
could reach out
Yeah, I
to.
was thinking that skate shop too.
Yeah.
That's was ringing big in my head.
Yeah, there may be some... Is there a club or anything of the skaters? There's probably some sort of leadership
We
there.
actually have a skate shop in town, and I know Cynthia's a big skater, so she knows. So yeah, we can reach out and express that, hey, we're here to help, or we've got an idea. How would you like to play with this too?
Yeah, I think really giving the skateboard folks, some agency over their space, and I think that would be great. There's some really fun examples of art in skate parks.
Okay, and Mikhail, I'd like to we'll just keep this on the agenda, and we'll just keep on looking to get back on this thing. So that's B. We've done, so I think we're still kind of on subcommittee updates. I don't know if your subcommittee, you guys met this week, or did you meet this week? No. You had a Zoom call. Is that?
The Art Plan and Outreach Committee and the Programs and Special Events Committees met.
Oh. Yeah, do you want to talk about that when we go to Park and Rec updates?
I can, but committee members should go through that, but I can also touch base on my notes on it.
I'll let you guys were in on that Zoom, so go ahead. Let's open that up, yeah.
I'd also say, at least for the Art Plan and Outreach, since we have Leslie and Bobo on, we can just simply turn it over to them. And really the bulk of the conversation was, we did a little bit of a recap of the events that we had the other weekend, but mostly we were talking about the residency, which is being planned for June 13th through the 15th. So I'd just have Leslie or Bobo go over that.
Yeah, are we on? Ready? Okay. Yeah, I think first thing to do would be to. Is there anything else you want to go over about the Holland Days, Holland Happening? I think
I'd like
covered that.
when you said hollandaise, like it was a sauce or something like that. Yeah.
The Holland Happening. Yeah, I think for the residency, we're really excited to come up there. and want to make sure that those dates work for everybody. That would be June 13, 14, 15. So we could have something cooking on Thursday night. We would be around all day Friday. We can have some focus groups. We can have a residency where we're in a spot, hopefully in the building next to the splash park would be really great because people can just wander in and see us and talk to us and tell us whatever they want. Will give us Friday night to do a thing, and then Saturday morning, so we cover people that we could touch base with during their work day and people we can touch base with on, non-work hours. So what we would like to do is get some help figuring out who the focus group invites would go out to, getting some people just excited about what we're up to. There's different ways we could format that, but want to do it most appropriately to you guys. So, Boba, should we bring up the slides or just?
I have a slide deck that shows all the activity we are proposing. So let me bring it up.
In other jurisdictions, we have had like an open house and invited people to come give us ideas, but that could be a lot less formal if you want, because we are going to be at these various outreach events. We would like to be there for 4th of July for sure. So I think maybe it's better for us to go to people for the broad outreach, but again, whatever you think is best, we can make that happen.
Yeah. You all see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, so we can quickly walk through all the activity with you all and then to discuss the focus group and the potential contact list. So just looking at this residency at our overall schedule we talked about last week, we are looking at June 13, 14, and 15. That's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So this will be our very first outreach with the community. Our entire team will be on the island for 3 days. It will be fun. So that's June, and then when we will collect vision and needs from specific groups, and after that in July we will summarize though and then report back to all of you. And later in the summer we will come back again as Residency 2. That will be a 3 days on island events again to report back to the community what we heard and confirm. Are these idea, the idea they expressed in the Residency 1, and then with that in September we will start drafting the plan and strategy that answering those requests. So, and then we will circle back with you again for the 4th meeting, and in October we will start working on the final plan. So that's the overall schedule. For the Residency 1, there are 2 big components. One is the broad outreach that will be available for everybody. We will have an open house that's more formal or something more interesting, like a project art walks that we walk with people to look at the arts in the park, and then share some of our thought and collect their thoughts. So that's broad outreach. And then we will do another portion that's called targeted outreach. So that's what we want to discuss with you today. We want to have some in-depth conversation with certain groups, for example, school, young artists, you guys mentioned, and with you all, the commissioner. So that's the 2 big portion of the residency. I can dive deep into each of these activities. Yeah.
Well, okay. Just keep going for a minute, and then we'll open it up for input.
Okay, I will be quick. Yeah, and so in terms of schedule, the orange here is the dates we are looking at. So from this week, the coming 3 weeks is color in green. So we should get those names and contacts that we want to invite for focus group together in the coming 3 weeks, and plan to send out the invitation to these groups and individual by the end of May. So people have about 2 weeks to answer an RSVP whether they want to come. So the 3-day schedule of the residency, June 13, we are planning to come in the morning, and then that will be the date you guys have your June Art Commission meeting. So we will talk with you that night, and then on the Friday morning we can do 2 focus group, and one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and then maybe a project art walk with people after work. It will be bright outside, so that's nice to have a walk together Friday evening. And then Saturday morning, we're planning to have an open house by the spread park, so everybody can come in, where we will do the survey and the mapping activity. And potentially we will have a third focus group after the residency online. So if folks cannot make that weekend but still want to talk to us, they can sign up for a Zoom discussion, and we will facilitate a very similar activity like the in-person one. So that's the overall schedule. And in terms of activity, these are just some ideas. We like other ideas from you guys, like where to get the mermaid's cookie and where to find a young artist. So these are just something we did in our past project. We have like trees for the kids to hang their hopes and dreams of the project. We did like a lunch with the community and then talk about hopes and dreams and mapping. So this is the broad outreach we could do at the open house. Project art walks, again, we can look at the sculpture along Pioneer Way and then go to Windjammer Park and have a chat there. It especially works well walking and talking. We can see different stuff instead of sitting in the room. So that's something we found very inspiring. And the last piece is the focus group and interview. We could do focus group with about 10 to 20 people, or some groups might be more appropriate to do a smaller group, like one-on-one or 1-on-5 interview. So I sent out an email to our meeting groups yesterday. I think JR, you are on that email. In there's a spreadsheet for you guys to work out who we want to talk to and get idea to support this project. We usually would invite community group, art and culture organization, government, schools, educational institution, the business group. So these are some idea to think about. So this is how that worksheet looks like. And then Brian's provide a list of drafts that you guys start working on last year. That could be the starting point. So something to consider when we think about who to invite and what to talk to. There's a question we ask people a lot during our initial phases. If you have a magic swan, what do you want to get out from this project, right? And you guys mentioned a lot getting a call for artists together and a procedure. So that's something to consider. And then what about other things? So this is the starting point. We think about what we want to get out from this project and then who to talk to. Yeah, so with that, I'll just open up for question and discussion.
Yeah, so this is a starting point, and we're happy to work with you to mold it to best fit what you'd like. Maybe there's a group on Saturday morning that could work specifically with Perry on some of the technical issues that we're hearing you want to work on as well. Yeah. First of all, is the date working for people?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's burn that in. I think if we can give people 3 weeks notice, that would be even better.
Would it be possible to come up with a PR code that we could hand out to community members or, right away just to get them thinking about it, or even put it in the paper?
What's coming.
Yeah, like what's coming, and if they're interested, to go to that site and figure out the times, and I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we can get the website up and running, that would be great. I think there's 2 different audiences. One is the broad outreach, and everybody's invited. The focus groups, we want to keep them to a size where we're talking to some of the arts leaders or business leaders, et cetera. So, yeah, for the bigger one, as soon as we'll need a venue and a date, right? So that would be Saturday, so we've got the date. Brian, do you think the venue should we do it at the Splash Park? I mean,
Yeah,
it'd
so
be
we
nice to
have
be-
the interpretive center that is there adjacent to the splash park that we could reserve that space for it.
That would be fantastic. I love that spot. Yeah, I think the sooner we can do that, the better, and then we'll have a reminder, maybe put it in the paper closer to the time.
Yeah, that's my biggest, I'm sitting here pretty excited writing down a bunch of things here and piggybacking on what Carla said about the publicity side of this, because no one will know that this is happening. So if we had formal invites, if the invites look good to the people that we want, find out who all the stakeholders are, because this is this is not just the art, this is Oak Harbor. So this is our city council, our mayor, this is the whole, everybody's got to play in this thing. And then
Yeah.
the publicity part, that we've got the Whidbey Weekly and the Whidbey News Times are our 2 papers, and it'd be an opportunity to kind of give everybody an idea who you are, why you're here, and what Framework can do for us, and then you got to say, here's what you guys need to do now. We can help guide you, and first step is for you guys to step out and help develop this plan. With whatever you come, we'll develop the plan. So that publicity part is going to be huge.
Why don't we help you with a press release?
Perfect.
Okay.
Why didn't you say that 20 minutes ago before I started talking?
I'm going to always wait for you to finish talking before I weigh in. I think we can get a press release, which would be great, and that would be sort of a teaser for now, and then have more event details in a few weeks. Does that sound good?
Yes. And how about on the city website also? We could put something up.
Yep. Yeah, so we've got a list, a partial list of people to get some things out to. We'll need your guys' help on that. We can get an email together for you to send out to invitees. We said this to the smaller group, but trying to get everybody's schedule to work has just is so problematic that what's worked better lately is really to say we're going to have one focus group at this time, another focus group at this time, and an opportunity later via Zoom if you can't make either of those 2, and let people RSVP on which one they would prefer to attend. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
It's a little less curated, but sometimes that's okay. Sometimes serendipity happens. These guys all probably know each other, at least to some extent, I would guess.
Cynthia.
Okay, so those are the to-dos. Bobo and I can get together a to-do list with what you guys need to do and what we need to do, and a bit of a time frame. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Yes.
I think this might be an opportunity for you to roll out the duck names, by the way.
Good call.
So the planning committee was tasked to develop this stakeholder list, so I think a date is in order, via Zoom or in person, just to develop that list a little bit more. That will be on your to-do list, and I know it's probably a priority, so we know who those invitations are going to. And what
True.
work was done previously that Brian shared with you is a great starting point. But does the rest of the committee, will the rest of the commission have an opportunity to look at the list to make sure that we didn't forget anybody?
That would be good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, why don't I go ahead and fill that in as much as I can from our previous conversations, and I'll schedule a virtual meeting for us to go through and just vet and see if we've missed anyone on there.
I've
Yeah,
got one
I
more
think-
question for you.
Yeah, I feel like I should be helping you, Brian. You're doing so much, but I feel like I should help you type this stuff in.
You will when we get on the meeting.
Okay.
I have one more question. I mean, we just gave $1,000 to buy crayons and art supplies for the Mermaid and Pirate. I just, big generalization. For our money this is a chance to really step out big and
Yeah.
show everybody what can happen. And using the interpretive center and the venue, especially in July when the odds are getting a nice day, are pretty good. Or June, yes, the odds are getting a nice day, or it'll be just like when you were up here, Bobo. It'll be like, that'll be another nice summer day.
A nice day in the Northwest.
But
yeah.
it would be
Looking
nice
forward to that.
because when people walk in there, and the atmosphere will automatically create some synergy and energy, and they'll be excited to talk about things, and we could probably break it out. So if there's money that needs to be thrown at this, so if, I don't know who, there's, like who's paying for something, is this you guys something, is this more money, but I think it has to be done.
Yeah, I think having an activity would be good, especially since we're so close. If we're right near the spray park, that's golden. We'll think of something that would be fun, and it doesn't have to cost much. I mean, bubbles are cheap, and if we're naming the ducks, I don't know, anybody have any ducks? We'll think of some things that would.
We'll
be fun,
serve
and
duck.
I hear you do a good duck call, but I think getting something that we could attract people in. Last meeting we talked a little bit about chalk, and that's something that could be an activity. And again, it's really minimal material, so we'll think of something that would be a good interface between a spray park and an open house, open doors, come on in thing.
Kind of along those lines as well, when we get together with the art plan committee, we'll also talk about some strategizing of the marketing to help promote like the survey. And Sabrina was good enough to mention that she can embed the arts website on the city website as well.
It's already done.
She's
Oh,
on
wow.
it.
Thank you.
Wish granted.
Thank
So-
you.
So where are we at now? Are we at F, Parks and Rec Director updates? Oh, yeah, we should thank Leslie and Bobo Kai for,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
do we want you guys want to go eat or buzz off? You want to
Yeah.
leave? You want to kick
I'm
out?
gonna get dinner one.
All right, so now let's move on to item F, Parks and Rec
We saw
Director.
the programs committee, programs special events committee.
Oh, Program Special Events Committee, okay. What, who? We already kind of did that,
Did we go over all that?
yeah. I disagree with all of you, I think the mayor's doing a great job. Yeah.
They did.
We're,
Yep.
Well, I could just summarize a little bit, just for the rest of the committee. So we did a combo, we did a little combo meeting where we met with the parks folks beyond Liz. I'd not met a lot of those folks, and then we met, and then we were joined. we joined them, or vice versa, to have an open discussion. I think it was valuable that our group here in the Art Commission got to hear some of the larger plans that Liz and company are planning, and the rollout of some of those things, and what's going on with the program catalog and the arts support within the programs. Sounds really great. I think there was a lot to chew off on that first meeting, so I think there were topics we didn't quite get around to talking about, but I look forward to for future meetings where we can pack our agenda a little bit more, maybe. But it was useful because then we got to hear, where we could offer our support potentially for some money on some things like that. So I think that was really valuable there.
Tracy's being very modest with like the discussion. I'll run through like the notes. So they talked about, they did an event recap of the events with Holland Happening and Arbor Day. A little bit of planning around Mermaids and Pirates event on July 27th. Discussion about promotion with like Mad Batter, shop theming to go along with that. Maybe you dress up for a discount at some of the shops downtown. And our commission supported that. We talked a little bit about the Parks and Recreation mascot, Ollie, and the Harbor Your Happiness tagline, and doing social media games around that, an all-learning coloring book, and how to get that branding out there with different art activities. Talked about Kiwanis Club scholarship for youth programs, school district paid programs, as well as summer camps, and how do we sponsor low-income and disadvantaged community members for those. Graffiti art form classes, and looked at a couple of examples of that with like paint pens and different things we can do for activations. The hiring of contract instructors and that process. Talked about some of the archery activities that we did was a big hit with the archery tag at the Holland Happening event and the program that's going with that. Talked a little bit about food trucks, adaptive and inclusive programming, some art initiatives with that. We talked a lot about the activity guide, about a possible activity guide app, or how we help get the word out with digital marketing around that. Went through the list of programs, Crafty Kids, Expression Through Writing, Intro to Art, 5 different medias, taught some motion play, sports sampler, expanding that age group, activity field games, soapstone carving, Intro to Sound Healing, expanding that with additional programs, magic exploration, Kids Night Out, summer camp type programs for next year, archery activity, teen club, and Liz's concept around that, and the activities they would do with that. Talked about Boys and Girls Club collaboration, and Stefania, who's on the Parks and Recreation Commission, gave a little background there. So it was a very full meeting. We had a lot to talk about. I think it's going to take a little while to disseminate some of that out into some biteable projects we want to get done on the ground level with the
I think the
commission.
big thing that came out of that for us, the Art Commission members, was we're like, okay, there's a lot there, so let's go dive in and to have our meeting, and we've already decided to schedule a meeting where we get together and start looking to see where the next big thing is that is doable, and then how we can start tackling some of these other things. So, and I saw the mayor popped his head in, that's why I made that comment. I was just being nice to him, and I didn't need his stuff, his food in the drawer.
Brian also gave us homework. Fall programming ideas. Start thinking about that kind of stuff too.
So yeah, we've got our homework for our subcommittee.
Okay, you ready for me? Updates? Okay, so right before the meeting, we had a couple emails and a follow-up phone call with RCO around a evaluation of grant compliance. So this is an interesting topic, and I wasn't aware of it, that RCO is the state's Recreation Conservation Office, and they provide a number of grants, recreational grants. Similar to several federal grants, they have project areas that have restrictions of use of what, compliance with notification if we replace something or add in something, all kinds of interesting requirements that are tied in with that. So something that's come to light is that anytime that we remove a facility, add in a facility, or make a modification to an area where we have installed something with one of these RCO grants, there's a permission approval process with that. So a couple of things that this then brings to light is the need to coordinate with RCO on the placement of the angel statue, as well as like the windmill, things like that. This might affect placement of art in any areas that have an RCO grant attached with it. It doesn't restrict it necessarily, but there's additional process that we'll have to work with them on. So something that we want to consider, we'll be working with our grant administrator, Wendy Horn, on doing that, helping us with that coordination. But yeah, it's something we'll talk about specifically with the angel statue.
And so are you telling us that there has been RCO grant dollars received that the city has used?
Yeah, both at Flintstone Park and Windjammer Park.
Okay.
So they're looking at everything from the installation of the clean water facility, the improvements, the installation of like the restrooms and the kitchens, all those kind of things.
So is there a way that, just to help educate us on what projects have those dollars tagged when we do an inventory of some type, that we can go asterisk RCO?
Yes, and that's something I'm having to educate myself on, because we don't, at least at a city level, I don't know that we have a list of, hey, here's all the RCO restricted project
Right.
areas and boundaries that need to have consideration anytime we do
And
anything.
when you say restricted, that means we've already spent
We have
awarded dollars
right,
on
awarded,
these projects.
yes,
Okay, thank you
grant
for that
funds and-
clarification.
Yep.
Is it something new that you guys have had to deal with, or you just, nobody was enforcing it, or nobody knew about it, or?
I think it's probably been a while since they have done a compliance evaluation. Their last conversation, they did have a little bit of a conversation when the clean water facility was being installed, but nothing since then. And we have a couple of park projects that we are going after RCO grants funding for, and so this got put on the radar a little bit. And so
Yeah.
they just kind of did a citywide of Windjammer Park, the Marina, and Flintstone Park specifically that received grant funding for either procurement of those lands or installation of features there.
How does it affect the angel?
I was just gonna say.
Like I said, I think we need to just touch base with them that, hey, we are going to be installing something here, and this is what it is. And what they're really concerned about mostly, I think, is that it doesn't alter the use of that space for
The
what the intent of
intent,
the grant
yeah.
was. Placement of art piece certainly doesn't do that. So I don't think there's an issue with it, but there's just a process and paperwork involved.
So, I'm just trying to get educated on the bigger picture. So these RCO dollars that we've spent in Flintstone Park, was it on the lose? I mean, because there's
From-
not been much done to that property other than that.
Yeah, so the RCO grants for Flintstone Park was for the dock and the original restrooms that were before the Portland Loos. So the compliance
my
issue was that the
gosh.
city removed the
Right.
restrooms that those RCO dollars were spent on without notifying RCO that, hey, we're getting rid of the, and they do have concessions in there for if something's at end of useful life, right? But again, there's just a paperwork process that's associated with
You need more staff, Brian.
Is there a penalty for us not doing that?
I imagine there would be if we were to not, work with the compliance office to satisfy whatever the requirements are, or if there was enough of a egregious change in the intended use of whatever that project area is that the RCO grants were applied for.
Okay, I thank you. I just didn't, because we didn't even know what RSO was until
RCO, yeah.
RCO, yeah.
Well,
see,
and
what-
so many years have gone by. I mean, is there a statute of limitation on?
Yeah, that too.
I know for the federal version of this, most state recreation grant offices don't have this kind of a requirement. It's, like I said, it's usually something you see in federal grants. Like, for instance, we're looking at installing a inclusive playground. We're going after a federal mineral lease district grant for that. What that does is it puts on the entire park that we stick that playground in what's called an F6 designation. And so into perpetuity, the park has to be used for a recreational purpose. If the city ever decides, you know what, we want to develop this or not use this for a recreational area, the city would have to go through about a 6-year permitting changeover process and provide a at or greater value of property with like use to do a land swap exchange for that.
You lost me at interpretuity.
Government.
Wow. Other than that, how was the rest of the play, Mrs. Lincoln?
Let's see, we are doing planning around the 4th of July. I think Liz is polling staff to get some volunteers to be in the parade. I know Leslie with Framework would also like to have a booth at the 4th of July event. I don't think we're going to man a booth, but yeah, the event's 3 days long, so we'll coordinate with them on what they want to do with that. We are putting together draft budgets. Right now, the first step in that is working with our capital projects. Arts-related specific capital projects that will go into that from a very large list of Parks and Recreation initiatives is installation of the AV system for events and programs at the center, city welcome signs on both the north and south end, a recreation division vehicle for events and programs and transporting those supplies to those sites, the art plan, Windjammer improvements specifically around an amphitheater, which would be one of the 3 large projects we would do there. Kennebrew collection, art installations, the angel statue installation, and then website. We'll also need to submit program performance measures. This is like we talked about before in kind of our initial budget training, which we'll do some more discussions around. Submit program performance measures for the art fund. And we'll talk about that in the public art committee, specifically around budgeting, and put a draft budget together. Right now we have programs and public art as 2 of those, what they call programs that we would do those performance measures around. The activity guide is out. I share my screen here.
But we don't, it's not physically out, or did those come in?
It's virtually out, and tomorrow we're
Right.
picking up the physical copies. So those will be out on the streets tomorrow.
Liz did a great job of pulling this together. It's a very fun activity guide, visually.
You had the wrong year.
There might be other wrong things, but I'm sure at least we got the year right.
Yeah, so if you hadn't had a chance to go through it, give it a look over. Love feedback. We're going to continue to evolve and improve the activity guide. A lot of fun events, activities here for kids, as well as a lot of the programs that Liz and her team are providing.
And soon you'll get to the art commission page.
Yeah. Scrolling down here to that. Lots of programs and events. That's Parks and Rec Commission. Here we go. Arts Commission. So here's our Art Commission page.
I guess I didn't ask for permission, Cynthia. Can I put that picture in the activity guide?
QR code for
It
the
was
survey.
a really fun page to make for the art commission because you have all been so involved in the community and programs.
Don't leave the QR code. I want to see if my phone picks up the QR code.
So I wanted to just say thank you to many of you who participated, and so it gave me great opportunities to take pictures and put them in our activity guide, and it sounds like we're going to have a lot more opportunities for that, and to make the next activity guide commission page super fun too. And then here's the page after is the name, the Ducks.
And that worked for me, just scanning right here on my phone to that, to open that up, so it was there.
So thank you for that. And last thing was we have an opening for a student rep, and I think we had a little bit of discussion around that before about
Yeah, we kind of discussed that before the meeting when you walked in, so we just got to figure this out. Oh yeah, we don't know what we're going to do, so we're going to figure it out.
Liz, you have any thoughts?
Member comments going around. Anybody?
You want to talk about funding request form now?
Yeah, I had something
Yep.
that I tried to squeeze in for a second last time, but it was, I'm sorry, I wasn't here, so it was kind of hard. I know that we've got some great conversations going on with Framework, and but in the meantime, I thought maybe we should have a few structure pieces that we could just lean on if we had to in the meantime, or even build from. And what I started with, and I just wrote it down, a second one for maybe a call to artists form, unless Framework was going to take that on in the immediate rather than later in the fall. But where I gathered this information was from an organization that supports nonprofits. So I basically kind of reversed their information, which would have been to the person who would be filling this out, and what they, it is that they needed to provide to an entity like ourselves. And these were the topics, basically. When making a request for funding or for some money, first, describe what the program or the project is, what the estimated total cost was, and just as an example, Liz did both of those things. And then what's the amount being, we don't know what the total cost is, but she did then do number 3, funds amount being requested. And she did describe how the funds will be used. And then this would be for some of those larger asks that might be where we would need to make an estimation of, is this something that is in the Arts Commission wheelhouse or not? And this number 5 would maybe answer that of, who is going to be supported, how many will be supported, and then what's our time frame on that. as an example, is it a short project like an event, like, like Holland Happen Weekend? Or is it something like an ongoing give that's needed, each year or something like that? So that would be useful for us to know in making a decision. And then I think it's always good to have follow-up. And so the ask would be, what's an agreed plan of how we can hear the results of this money being used, and was it useful? Did it reach the people you wanted to reach? All of those things, and that can be an open discussion as well. So just as a basic outline, we could maybe use this in the interim, to have some kind of structure to start with. And just wanted to get everybody's thoughts.
I think it's good to have a paper trail, so then we can go look back and say, who have we given money to and who have we not within the community?
I know, Cynthia, you and I have kind of talked about this, because we've had this problem. We've had at least 2 people come to an art commission meeting with an idea, and we didn't know what to do with it. And that has since fallen by the wayside. Not that we could have done anything with it, but if we had these things, if they come in and then they go into, okay, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but this thing sits and it exists and it came into us and we acknowledge that we've received it, and maybe there's a place in time where we could take this on, and like that's where the contact information. And I think we definitely should work with Framework to, if there's a, because this is your, like what maybe they have, if there's a better wheel out there that's been invented, let's just piggyback on that. But we definitely need this to start. It has to be done.
I think
Good
it's
job.
great. Yeah, good
Yep.
job. Thank you.
And then we can post it on the website too, so that people can digitally ask or request funds.
I mean, I say that lovingly. It scares me because I think the plan that we're trying to develop will outline what the vision is and what funds will be spent on. And I don't even know how to say it. I don't want to get in a grant situation, right? Like, I don't think the commission is here to award grant money to organizations or projects. So the plan will help us outline the direction in partnering with the city and community.
As another thought to that, this information doesn't have to be put out into a formal form. It could be used as an example when we had, if we have somebody that's asked for some time at our meeting, and we know that this is maybe something, where the subject might be about asking for some money. We can just maybe share a few of these questions with them to prepare for the discussion, and then interview them with these questions so that we have a proper scope outlined so we can make a good decision.
Yeah, along those lines, it'd be nice to, what are the requirements in the process of doing this? You fill this out, and then we would all preview this before the meeting even started, so that when somebody comes in to talk, I still think the mayor's doing a great job. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Have a nice night. But, so when somebody comes in, we don't have a lot of, like me talking like this right now. It can be more focused, more point, and we'd be on exactly what they're looking for, and we will have thought this through a little bit so that we can say respectfully no, or have you thought about going this, or how can we help, that type of thing. So. Onward?
Is there any ideas on what we want to, if we want to just have this at hand, if we want to publish it, not publish it?
For lack of a better thing, there, we don't have anything. So it's just something that,
That's why I
just a
created
form
it.
that is online as an addition, as a form right now. Is this worth telling Sabrina, hey, under the Art Commission, there's the first tab that says request for art? Or- Well, in that case, let's table this, because we know we want to do it, and let's see what framework says, and let's make sure we flush this through, and then we'll figure out how to incorporate it into the website, into the city, so that it's available, and into the plan.
I think at the very least, in the interim, it gives us some power of scoping out an ask. You know, what questions, what do we need to know to make our decision? So I think it gives us some control and power over any asks.
I think it's a good tool we can use, like you said, to give you guys information for consideration. Like Cynthia mentioned, I don't want to market us as a grant.
We're not, yeah, we're not,
So,
just, we're not a bank, we're not going out and giving grants, yep. Okay. Carla, you got anything? Oh, come on. Cynthia, you got anything?
Two things. I put my music festival hat on. Can I do that here? Our summer concert series lineup has been announced. That's exciting. It will start the last Wednesday of July this year because we wanted to get the number of concerts in, partnering with Windermere. And second, the Teen Talent Showcase applications are in. So all the teens out there with talent, please submit before June 6th at midnight.
Cynthia, is there a website or how do they submit?
Yes, website, www.oakharborfestival.com. And posters will be going out this next week with all that information to downtown and to the schools.
Just for me wrapping up, I think the big, for homework for all of us, our focus has to be for that framework event. So I know we're going to meet as a subcommittee for the outreach thing in 2 weeks, so we can talk about that. Brian, if you could let us know for that other meeting that where we did the joint meeting, when we're going to do the next one. And yeah, for the plans committee, as the subcommittee, keep us posted, because this thing is huge. We have to make this thing be a home run. And frameworks involvement, and what do we need to do? If there's something that needs to be tasked to us, let us know. And because the clock is ticking on this thing. And that's all I got.
On that note, and kind of related to the next item for future agenda items, I still need to schedule the Placemaking and Public Art Committee. We had talked about the fourth Monday. I don't have a time yet. Right now I have Carla, Cynthia, and Mary on that committee. I don't have Teresa on any of the committees.
We'll put her on that one.
Well, we have
Yeah,
to
no,
keep it to 3.
Oh,
Monday,
Maybe she
look,
doesn't want to be, and it's not required. This is totally voluntary.
was that, Brian?
I don't know. That's why I'm bringing it up. When you want to do it?
Monday works really well for me. I'll just throw that out there.
The fourth Monday at 10. Do you guys prefer a morning time, an afternoon time?
Whatever works for you, yes.
Fourth Monday's at 10 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay.
okay, and yeah, the other, yeah. Keep me posted on if anybody else has any future agenda items that we can get Mikhail and Ken to put them in there for us. And unless anybody has something else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Anybody but Valerie, I would like,
I don't like you.
a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?